Hey y'all, it's Tori. Okay, so this episode is, honestly, it's about as raw as I can get, because we're diving right into the deep end with Korrupting Kayla, and let's just admit it, taboo fiction like this, people are obsessed for a reason. It's not just the filth, it's that strangely authentic emotional core beneath all the layers of degradation. If you've read it, you know what I mean. You start with Kayla, who's so painfully shy, nervous, self-loathing, like, I cringe through every line of her avoiding eye contact, her constant body shame, the whole thing, total deer in headlights energy. But then, God, the trajectory she gets forced down by her family, by the corruption of nearly every adult in her life. She goes from hiding behind her hair to, well, being a literal corporate plaything. Corporate property for humiliation. Right. But what kills me is how the book frames that humiliation. It's not just kink for kink's sake. It's about her shame, her compliance, and the pain that almost sparks something, I don't know, almost arousing and devastating at the same time. There's this scene, I always get stuck on it, where Kayla's mom and brother witness her being disciplined. It's public, explicit, and you're like, God, do I look away? But then the writing zeroes in on Kayla's reaction. She's crying, embarrassed, and yet totally aroused. Which, look, if you've never read this kind of book, that combo will mess with your head. And honestly, as someone who's written similar stuff, I see the appeal. Playing that line between your body betraying you with pleasure, while your brain is screaming, why? Why am I like this? I can't even count the times in my own writing, or even when I'm just being, myself on camera, where the degradation gets juxtaposed with real vulnerability. That's why taboo readers stick around. It's not about getting off to pure filth, though usually that's also happening. It's about feeling exposed, helpless, wanting to run and at the same time desperately wanting to be seen. Kayla embodies that in the most painfully honest way. She gets humiliated, but instead of the shame just being a bad thing, it's weaponized by the narrative to drag her and the reader deeper into both horror and hunger. That's what makes it, for me, way more than just shock value. It's a heartbreak that gets you off, and a lust that makes you want to cry. There, I said it. And honestly, moving from Kayla's inner turmoil to the actual messed up constellation of people around her, where do you even start? There's Tiffany, the so-called bad influence, but, she's like a force of nature. Outgoing, sexual, completely shameless, the perfect opposite to Kayla's timid, embarrassed everything. The friendship's cute at first, but super quickly, you realize Tiffany isn't a safe escape. She's an accelerant, and probably the most honest with Kayla, in her own trashy way. I don't know, I always feel like Tiffany's the friend you want to hate, but can't, because she tells Kayla exactly what she needs to hear, and push her straight into depravity at every opportunity. But then, oh God, the family. Kayla's mom, Marie, I don't even know where to start. The book makes her this weird mix of passive-aggressive, controlling, and weirdly competitive with her own daughter. And all of that gets weaponized by Professor Miles, who's, what's the nice word? Creepy as hell? The guy justifies everything with this pseudo-clinical, manipulative, it's for your own good shtick that, honestly, is way scarier than any fade-to-black scene in classic erotica. There's no winking at the reader like, oh, we don't really mean it. It's happening, and it's spelled out in detail. Like the classic wink and fade-to-black erotica doesn't live here. This book drags you, Kayla, and basically everyone else through every line, every violation, every emotional train wreck. And the family's complicity? It's not just window dressing, it's in your face. There are scenes where her mum literally tests if Kayla's following the underwear rules in front of her brother. There's spanking, exposure, And it all reads as lesson, but it's so clear that the adults are getting off on it too. The book's not afraid at all, actually. It's eager to say, yeah, this is what you want, isn't it? And then forces the characters and the readers to actually answer. I mean, speaking as someone who's played around with coming-of-age themes in crazy sexual situations, there's a real reason this stuff resonates in taboo fiction. It's not that you literally want it. I mean, if you do, hey, you do you. But emotionally, maybe there's some honesty in facing the fantasy all the way through. No cutaways, no lies. The mix of family drama, coming-of-age, and total depravity, that's not accidental. That's what keeps you turning the pages when you know you should probably just burn the book and take a shower. All right, so let's get into DomCo, the corporate machine that wrecks Kayla's identity and, honestly, makes the whole book feel like some dystopian fever dream. As soon as Kayla starts getting pulled into that world by Tiffany, who, by the way, frames the place as a step up from their trashy lives, everything just amplifies. The objectification, the submission, the loss of self. Like, it's literally world building, but it's world building through humiliation and shame. The renaming, Kayla as brutal, right? But it's a plot point, not just a slur. The book basically makes losing your name a milestone on the way to total objectification. It's not subtle about the way corporate indoctrination gets sexualized. The use of collars, the mandatory product testing, if you know, you know. The stripping away of not just her clothes, but her autonomy. There's even a scene where Kayla can't call herself by her real name. She actually gets punished by the system if she tries. I remember the first time I read a book that took this kind of world building seriously. I mean, like, here's the corporation, here's the process, here's all the weird, humiliating rituals. I remember thinking, damn, you can turn the world itself into an erotic antagonist. That kind of immersion is seriously addictive, both to read and to write. And it's the combination. You get sex, shame, and compliance, but you also get this feeling of being in an all-consuming system that's so much bigger than any individual kink. It's not about maybe she'll get out. It's about she's already inside and the walls are closing in. Everything is intent. Every new rule, every new humiliation, every new identity stripped away. The result is a narrative intensity that, yeah, sometimes it's hard to breathe reading it. I'll just say this, as someone who read my first large-scale erotic dystopia as a teenager, I was honestly blown away. That's what got me wanting to write these stories that are as emotionally immersive as they are filthy. You can have all the sexual intensity in the world, but if it's not surrounded by a real or real-feeling world, it never hits as hard. DomCo's little details, collars, mandatory check-ins, product trials, new names, there's an almost sci-fi control to it. Not a safe place, not for a second. It isn't just a backdrop for kink, it's a whole machine, and by the end, Kayla's just one more part geared into the teeth of it, stripped of everything but her hunger. And honestly, is that not why we can't look away?